Right now, there is energy moving through your home that you are not using, not capturing, not storing, not even noticing. And every single day, it disappears. Gone. Wasted while you pay for electricity that should never have been necessary in the first place. Here is the part that changes everything. There is a system that costs less than $30 that can power essential parts of your home without solar panels, without fuel, without a grid connection. And it has been working for over 200 years, quietly, in places most people never think to look. The first time I saw it, I didn't understand what I was looking at. There were no panels, no wires running across the roof, no inverter humming in the background, just a small structure sitting beside a house and a pipe running underground. That was it. No noise, no movement, nothing that looked like energy production. But inside that house, lights worked, water moved, air circulated, and nobody was paying a power bill. Now, stop for a second, because everything you have been told about off-grid living starts with the same assumption. You need solar, expensive panels, batteries that degrade, inverters that fail, systems that cost $10,000, $20,000, sometimes more. But that assumption is wrong, because long before solar panels existed, people were already living off-grid, completely, and they were doing it using something far more reliable. Movement, not electricity. Movement. Here's the number that changes everything. A single gallon of moving water, falling just a few feet, contains measurable, usable energy. Not theoretical, real. The kind you can capture, the kind you can use. And the Amish have been capturing it for generations without ever calling it energy production. In Holmes County, Ohio, and Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, you will find small wooden or metal enclosures built beside streams, springs, or even drainage channels. Inside those enclosures is something most people would walk past without a second glance. A wheel, or sometimes a ram. No electronics, no circuits, no software, just pressure, gravity, and time. This is where it gets interesting. Because the system they are using was first documented in 1796, a device called a hydraulic ram pump, invented by a French engineer named Joseph Montgolfier, and the principle behind it is so simple. It almost sounds fake. Water flows downhill, that's it. As water flows through a pipe, it builds momentum. When that flow is suddenly stopped, the pressure spikes. Engineers call it water hammer. Most systems try to prevent it. This one uses it. The pressure surge forces a small amount of water upward into a second pipe that leads to a storage tank positioned above the house. No motor, no electricity, no external power. Just a repeating cycle driven entirely by moving water, over and over and over again. Now think about that. You are taking a small stream, or even a slow flow of water, and turning it into continuous pressure. That pressure becomes stored energy, and that stored energy becomes usable power inside your home. Water at height equals potential energy. When released, it becomes motion. That motion can turn a small turbine, drive mechanical systems, move air, circulate water, all without touching the electrical grid. And here's the part nobody tells you. This system does not run intermittently like solar. It runs 24 hours a day and night, rain or shine. As long as water is moving, the system is working. Now you might be thinking, I don't have a river in my backyard. Stay with me, because this next part is where most people get it wrong. You don't need a river. You need a height difference. Even a drop of 3 to 5 feet, combined with a consistent water source, is enough to start the cycle. A spring, a runoff channel, a redirected rain collection system. Even gray water systems can be adapted in some cases. And once that system is running, it creates something most homes never have: stored pressure, stored motion, stored energy. This is exactly how homes operated before centralized power grids, not just in America, but in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. The Romans used aqueduct systems to move water across entire regions, but they didn't just transport it. They used it. Water wheels powered grain mills, saws, metalworking tools. Entire communities operated on moving water. No electricity, no fossil fuels. In Switzerland and Germany, small-scale water systems like this are still used today in remote properties, not as a backup, as the primary system. And yet, you almost never hear about it because it doesn't fit the modern energy model. There is no monthly bill, no subscription, no upgrade cycle, no dependency. A hydraulic ram pump can run for 20, 30, even 50 years with minimal maintenance. The only moving parts are simple valves, no circuit boards, no firmware updates, no failure points tied to software. Now compare that to a solar system. Panels degrade over time, batteries lose capacity, inverters fail, and every part of that system requires replacement on a schedule. But this keeps working as long as water flows. Now let me show you what this looks like for a normal home, because this is the part most people care about. You dig a small intake line from your water source. That line feeds into the ram pump. The pump sits at the lowest point in the system. From there, a delivery pipe runs uphill to a storage tank. That tank can be a simple elevated container, a buried cistern on higher ground, or even a reinforced barrel on a stand. As the system cycles, water is slowly pushed upward into that tank, not all at once, gradually, consistently. Once the tank is filled, gravity takes over. Water flows down into your home with natural pressure, no pump required. That pressure can run sinks, flush toilets, supply showers, feed irrigation systems, and with a small inline turbine, it can even generate low voltage electricity, enough for lighting, charging devices, running small DC systems. And the cost? Most DIY setups come in under $30 to $100, depending on materials. PVC pipe, basic valves, simple fittings, no permits in many rural areas, because it is classified as a water system, not an electrical system. Now, here's the honesty. Because nobody selling you something will tell you this part. This system is not for every property. If you have no water source and no elevation change, it will not work. But here's what most people miss. Many properties already have what they need. They just never looked at it that way. A drainage ditch, a seasonal stream, a slope in the yard, a rain collection system that could be elevated. The resource is there. The system just hasn't been built. And once it is, something changes. You stop thinking about energy as something you buy and start seeing it as something that already exists around you. That shift is the real system. Because once you understand that movement equals energy, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. Air movement, water movement, temperature differences, pressure gradients, all of it usable, all of it free. The Amish never needed to go off grid because they never depended on the grid in the first place. They built around systems that worked with the environment instead of fighting it. And that is the piece that got lost. Not the technology, the thinking. In 1930, mechanical systems began replacing natural ones, not because they worked better, but because they could be sold, installed, maintained, replaced. A system that runs for 30 years without intervention is not a good business model, but it is a perfect system for a homeowner, and that is why you almost never hear about it. Not because it doesn't work, because it works too well. Now, here is the part I want you to think about. If you could install a system on your property that quietly generated usable energy every single day, without a bill, without a contract, without permission, would you? Drop a comment and tell me what you would power first. Water, lights, your entire home? Because next week, I'm going to show you a system that stores thermal energy underground and releases it on demand. And the industry that depends on heating systems has known about it since the 1940s. They just never expected you to find it.